Hey there, I'm John,
And I'm Cory.
and we have read Ecce Homo. This is a semi-autobiographical book and was the last book written by the famous philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. To give you a little bit of a background about this guy, for those of you who don't know much about him, here's a few facts. Nietzsche was born in 1844 and was raised in highly respected educational institutions. By the time he was just 24 years old, he had already become a full professor at Basel University in Switzerland.
Nietzsche also went insane. In fact, just 4 weeks after finishing the book that we studied, he was put in an insane asylum at the age of 45, where he lived the last 10 years of his life before he died in 1900. The book we studied was called Ecce Homo, which is a Latin phrase. It means behold the man in English, and is actually the exact same phrase that Pontius Pilate used to introduce Jesus Christ to the crowd on the day of his crucifixion. This title is actually quite blasphemous, and as we'll later see, it's not just the title, but this whole book contains incidents of Nietzsche comparing himself to Jesus.
This book has just 4 chapters in it, but get this, these are the titles. Why I Am So Wise, Why I Am So Clever, Why I Write Such Good Books, and Why I Am a Destiny. Now we want to give you a better idea of what Ecce Homo is really like to read. But to truly do that, we'd probably be here until the next Ubermunch arrives.
Oh, sorry. Philosophy jokes.
The next best way we can think of to give you any kind of idea of what Nietzsche's all about and what this book is actually like is to just read to you straight from it. So here are some of our favorite and what we think are the most ridiculous quotes from Ecce Homo.
In part 2 of Why I Write Such Good Books, Nietzsche says, I am the Antichrist.
He also says, a revaluation of values is perhaps possible for me alone.
The inmost parts, the entrails of every soul, are physiologically perceived by me, smelled.
I tame every bear. I make even buffoons behave themselves.
If it were possible for one to understand even 6 sentences of my book, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, they would be raised to a higher level of existence.
In one of my writings in Thus Spoke Zarathustra, I soared 1,000 miles beyond what was called poetry hitherto.
If a man takes one of my books into his hands, I even suppose that he takes off his shoes, as Moses did before God.
My readers are nothing but first-rate intellects.
I've been told that it is impossible to put down one of my books, that I even disturb nightly rest. My writings spoil one's taste because one simply can no longer endure other books.
I am at a height where I speak no longer with words, but with lightning bolts.
A truly good God would come to earth not to take the punishment upon oneself, but the guilt.
Nietzsche says in reference to the Buddha, his religion should rather be called a kind of hygiene, lest it be confused with such pitiable phenomena as Christianity.
The devil is merely the leisure of God on the 7th day.
Nietzsche says himself and lyricist Heinrich Heine are the greatest ever, the only valuable Germans.
It is with Germans almost as it is with women. One never fathoms their depths. They don't have any, that is all. They aren't even shallow. Have the Germans produced even one book that has depth? They lack the idea of depth in a book.
The mere proximity of a German retards my digestion.
I revered famous composer Richard Wagner as an incarnate protest against all German virtues. But what did I never forgive Wagner? That he condescended to the Germans, that he became Reichsdeutsch. As far as Germany extends, she corrupts culture.
Except for a few exceptions, I have not spent one good hour with a German.
The Germans have no idea how vulgar they are. But that is the superlative of vulgarity, that they are not even ashamed of being merely Germans.
It is my ambition to be a despiser of Germans par excellence.
I treat everyone the same. I even treat with special respect the lowliest. There isn't a grain of arrogance in me.
I know my fate. One day my name will be associated with the memory of something tremendous. I am no man. I am dynamite.
I am by far the most terrible human being that has ever existed so far. This does not preclude the possibility that I shall be the most beneficial. I am the first immoralist. That makes me the annihilator par excellence.
Nobody yet has felt Christian morality to be beneath him. To be the first here may be a curse. It is, at any rate, my destiny.
Have I been understood? What defines me, what sets me apart from the whole rest of humanity, is that I uncovered Christian morality. If you are confused, intrigued, or enlightened, we encourage you to dive into some Nietzsche yourself.
Thanks for listening to us. That is all.
That is